Godzilla and Kong are back on the big screen, and this time they're teaming up. Is it any good? Let's find out right now.
To like each other. They just have to work together.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. As I said in the intro, I'll be reviewing Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire today. We're going to do no spoilers, so don't worry about that. I'm not going to go into too much detail on the movie. Before I get started on the review, though, make sure you leave a like, follow me on all the socials. I got the links down below. Very active on all those. And I'm going to read you guys a quick plot synopsis just so you know what the movie's about. Godzilla and the almighty Kong face a colossal threat hidden deep within the planet, challenging their very existence and the survival of the human race. Before we get really into Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, I do want to say I will be doing a ranking of all the other MonsterVerse movies, hopefully within the next week. I'll probably try to get it out within the next week, depending on how busy I get, because I really enjoy these movies a lot. And that ranking won't include like Godzilla Minus One. It's only going to include like Godzilla 2014, I think that came out, King of the Monsters. And then you got Skull Island, then you got these other two that have come out in the past years. You know, it kind of sucks, Godzilla, because Godzilla vs. Kong, that came out during the pandemic, of course, and it got released on HBO Max at the same time. I didn't actually get to see that in theaters because I just watched it on Max. I think I had COVID or something. I couldn't go see it. That one was really fun, though. I think all these are just so fun. And I really enjoy the MonsterVerse movies a lot because I don't take them that seriously, to be honest with you. And I don't think that they should be taken seriously. And I also enjoy Godzilla Minus One, which just got released. And there's room to enjoy both because they're both their own movies, and they both take place in like different universes, I would say. So I don't like seeing, you know, because I saw on Rotten Tomatoes on Godzilla Kong New Empire, people are comparing this to Minus One. People on Twitter are comparing it. I don't see the point. Why are we comparing these, you know, movies that really aren't the same thing? One's a pretty serious movie and one's not really a serious movie. It's just a fun movie. I'm not going to say they're both on the same level, but I don't really want to compare them either. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I really enjoy both of them, and Godzilla Kong: The New Empire is no different because I had a lot of fun with this one, and it's just like Godzilla vs. Kong. You know, I have a lot of fun with both of them. They have a lot of great moments, and I think it's just a massive popcorn blockbuster movie to be enjoyed on the biggest and loudest screen possible. I saw an IMAX. There is the IMAX expanded ratio, not the whole movie, but pretty much like 60-70% of it. So I do recommend that format to see it in, because you can get popcorn, because you're just gonna be enjoying your time with this one, and you have some popcorn in your lap, have a soda. That's how I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it a lot more when I had that. I do want to talk about the action first, because this is an action blockbuster. You have two kaijus in this movie just going at it the whole time, fighting other kaijus. It's absolutely insane. There's lots of action in here to enjoy, and the VFX work done in here and done on this action is really impressive. And I think that the budget for this one was actually not that much. I don't know the full, you know, the exact number. I think it was like 135 to 150 million or something like that. It's not really, I don't think there's an exact number out. And I will say the VFX isn't as sharp as something like Godzilla vs. Kong, but you are dealing with so much more because you're in Hollow Earth for like 80% of the movie, which probably made it a little bit more difficult for the VFX workers. So I do applaud them on this movie because I think it looks it looks really flawless. As I said, it's not as sharp as Godzilla vs. Kong, but still, I think it looks great. And some of the action scenes are massive in scale. And when you're in Hollow Earth, they know how to handle the scale, because you're in Hollow Earth with just Kong on screen. He doesn't seem that massive. And then when you're actually on Earth, like outside of Hollow Earth on the surface, he does seem really massive. So there's many scenes in here where it's just the kaiju fighting, or just, you know, Kong walking around Hollow Earth. And those scenes are really long. It's just them, no humans to worry about here. So there's many scenes where it's just the kaijus fighting, and that's all we as fans really wanted. We just wanted the kaijus fighting. That's all we really wanted. No humans really in it. And you have a lot of those scenes. You got like, I don't know, there's one specific moment and sequence in this film where it's like 15 minutes straight just following Kong along and just going around Hollow Earth fighting different, you know, animals and all that. And that's so cool to have them fully like realize that that's what we wanted to see. There's a lot of cool moments in there, and the final battle had so many cartoonish moments that made me like love it even more. And the colors of this movie are insane. You have pink, and you have some blue flying around everywhere. You have colors flying around everywhere in that third act. It's glorious for the eyes. So I really enjoyed the action, especially when you get into that third act and then you go onto the surface. You've seen it in the trailer, Scar King fighting, Scar King's fighting Kong, and then you got Godzilla fighting Shimu, which is in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. There's also a specific moment in Hollow Earth where, you know, the gravity kind of flips upside down. I thought that moment was really cool. All the visuals in Hollow Earth were so well realized. I loved all that. And Shimu, oh my god, Shimu has some crazy crazy scenes. And then you got Godzilla. I think my favorite fights were with Godzilla and Shimu, because it's just blue and pink going at it, and I'm like, that is such a cool color mashup, and I really do love how they're doing that there. But let's talk about the characters. You got a lot of characters in here to talk about. Let's talk about Kong first, because I will say this is, a mixed movie between Kong and Godzilla, but I will say Kong has the most screen time in here out of him and Godzilla. And Kong is and has always been my favorite, only because he has the most humanity in him, and Godzilla, out of him and Godzilla. And I think Kong emotes more. He has a lot more emotion. And he also, man, Kong gets the shit beat out of him in this movie. And I will say he's getting pretty old. But this man is taking a beating left and right from Scar King throughout this whole movie. And then other Kongs he sees, I kind of felt bad for him, but he also does some pretty badass things to those other people. Like, he can still get it done, but he gets injured a lot in here. His tooth like almost falls out in this movie, and I felt bad for him until the third act. But then in that third act, he finally gets some help from Godzilla after Godzilla almost killing him again, because Godzilla doesn't trust him. He just wants to kill him. You've seen in that the trailer when Kong's like, "Stop, Godzilla, stop!" He's trying to like do some sign language to him, but Godzilla does not care. He just wants to kill him. And we also have a new kind of Kong in here. Some people know him as Mini Kong, but his name I think is Suko. And you've all seen him in the trailers. He's cute and he's funny. He's just like that in the movie. And there's a specific moment in this film where Kong is like throwing him around, and I found that absolutely hilarious. That's before like they become friends and all that. He's throwing him around, and I'm like, this guy's going through some damage. And you've seen, he's getting kind of, this character is kind of cool because he has pretty cool development. He's kind of like an abused, like little ape guy, and he needs a friend, and Kong becomes his friend throughout the whole movie. So I really like that. He's pretty funny at parts. He has a cool moment in the third act that I'm not going to spoil, but it was a pretty cool surprise for him to do that. In Godzilla, we've kind of got to the major powerhouse, and while he isn't my favorite, his power set is something amazing to watch every single time he's on screen, especially Godzilla minus one. It was so well realized there. But man, who doesn't get hyped when you see his powers turn on, his heat ray starting to, level up. It's starting to, turn on, and he's like boom, 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 up his back every single time. I'm like, oh my god, it's so cool. Gives you goosebumps every single time. And when it turns pink, I'm like, this is heaven, because it just lights him up even more. And he has so many great moments, especially in Godzilla 2014 with his epic heat ray moment. Then you have Godzilla vs Kong. He has some epic moments. Like, that heat ray is so cool. Like, if you hate Godzilla as a character, you can't deny you get goosebumps when he powers up. Like, oh my god, it's so cool. And I will say, he's kind of sidelined throughout the whole movie for a lot of the movie. But if you like him a lot, once you get to that third act, you're going to see him do some pretty cool things, especially when he turns pink. How he gets pink, that's a pretty cool way to, it's pretty cool how they explained how he did that. And he has some really cool team up moments with Kong in the end fight. But we can't leave without talking about the humans, because we all know the humans have been a major complaint throughout all the MonsterVerse movies, because the plot lines aren't great and we don't really like following them. And I will say the human plotline here isn't anything to gush over, but it's not anything I really hated. I liked it more than the human plotline from Godzilla vs. Kong, because that human plotline wasn't great, but I kind of wish that Alexander Skarsgård got to return for this one, because he was my favorite part of Godzilla vs. Kong, but he didn't get to return to this one. I don't know if there's scheduling issues or just they didn't really want his character back, but I wish he got to return. But I will say the human plotline here wasn't terrible, but I mean, I didn't love it. I just was fine with it here. Kaylee Hodel plays Gia. I really do like this character a lot, and I think Kaylee gets a lot more to do here, and actually has a more emotional storyline than I was really expecting. And she did speak of this in an interview, but it's awesome how more deaf actors are getting more representation in film and television, because if they can act, what's making them less qualified to be in a film? And she's really proven herself in these last two films. I think she's pretty great, so I hope to see her in more soon. Rebecca Hall also returns here, and I think that she's also a bit better in this one. And I always found Rebecca Hall to be a very underrated actor, so I'm glad that she gets to be in these bigger blockbusters. I mean, her storyline's pretty good. She's kind of like, her and Gia's storyline's kind of like mixed together, because she's like her adopted mom now. So it's pretty cool to see that. And then you got Dan Stevens as Trapper. Dan Stevens is one of my favorite parts of this movie. He brings so much charisma and charm, and he also brings the music, because there's a lot of needle drops in this movie, a lot of fun ones, and he brings it all. He's like the music character in here. Brian Tyree Henry is also back once again, and he's even better than last time. He plays off Dan Stevens so well, and his delivery and comedic timing works every time. He's such a funny character, and I think the pace is pretty well done. It's not a perfectly paced movie, but it's less than 2 hours, so I have nothing really to complain about here. And I love the third act and any of the fight scenes here, so I'm not really going to complain about the pace. So overall, these MonsterVerse movies are a big guilty pleasure for me personally, and I probably shouldn't enjoy them as much as I do, but I do. I can't lie, I really do enjoy them. This one is probably the most fun out of all the MonsterVerse movies, and maybe my favorite, filled with some great VFX, so many colors, and long-lasting kaiju fights. So Godzilla Kong, The New Empire, I'm gonna give it a strong 7 out of 10. So yeah, I really enjoy this one a lot. It's a fun blockbuster, a fun blockbuster popcorn movie that I think a lot of people will enjoy. Some families will enjoy it. You got a lot of cool colors, a lot of cool fights in here, so I really enjoyed it a lot. If you did see it, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What's your favorite MonsterVerse movie? Let me know down below in the comments. If you did enjoy my review, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.